Welcome Alan Poole and David Thorpe to Poppies TV, two former ET correspondents, editors and reporters of Kettering Town Football Club in the past, the written matter, when it mattered, as opposed to today where it doesn't seem so important, unfortunately, for the reader. And that must be quite upsetting to a certain extent after all your reports, which I've read in the past, not all your reports, but quite a few of them, you know, and seeing how the newspaper is changing generally must be quite frustrating.
I'm sure it's every bit as important to the people who come here. You know, I would imagine the core of them are just walking around the ground. You see so many familiar faces from even when I was covering them. And as you can tell, it's a vintage. You're talking about a certain age group. Yeah.
I did try to run off with the shirt earlier, but I didn't get very far with it. But no, it's an original shirt worn by Sean Suddards, I believe. Sean Suddards, there we go.
Actually, I'm not sure I should have done that because he'll be coming back to claim it. It was the gift of Mr. Dugan. So it was like,
Talking about Derek Dugan, quite dramatic times, obviously, with the Kettering ties. It's paramount in advertising and sponsorship.
Yeah.
You guys were there, I wasn't there at the time. But
Generally set the mould. It's amazing, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the great thing about Duke, I mean, he knew it was going to cause trouble. I mean, I think, to be honest with you, I don't think he... Oh, yeah. I think he did it more for a publicity stunt than the actual, income from Kettering Tigers. Yeah. And they got amazing... I mean, not just in the ET, but everywhere, It was
worldwide, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, it was, in fact, I had to compile a scrapbook for him of all the national... It's chicken feed compared to what within a year so the top clubs will get it.
Well, Liverpool, wasn't it? Hitachi was the next one after we got banned. Look what happened after that.
Yeah, I mean it was just a few £1,000s, and the but I can remember there was actually a Daily Express back page of Duke. I don't know if you remember. I'm sure you're too young. Roy Elliott. Who was this Daily Express cartoonist, very political and sporting cartoonist, and he had a big the back page was just a cartoon of the Duke in one of these shirts. Yeah. It was that much of an impact at the time.
They got 2 bangs to the buck from it because they had this one originally. Yeah. They banned that, and of course it came out with the big KT. And when I said you can't do that, he said, "What, Kettering Town? What are you talking about?" It was
good play on words.
It was absolutely brilliant.
I went with him down to actually it wasn't Soho then, it was
Lancaster Gate.
Lancaster Gate, yeah. And they were it was so heavy. It was Bob Lord. It was all the bigwigs of the football of the FA, and it was draconian. He did come out as Alan said. I'm sure he thought this was something he was either going to get a few £1,000 out of it. It was the worst case scenario. Best case scenario was that it was going to cause big publicity. But he was shaken because they were actually threatening to close the. They said we have the power to close the club down if you defy us, because if anybody was of a mind to defy the FA, it was Derek Dugan.
Oh, definitely, yeah, he loved it. Yeah.
The 1970s, though, era was a golden era for Kettering Town, wasn't it? In the Southern League with a fantastic team, losing out, of course, at Wembley against Stafford Rangers. You covered some great periods of time with the club.
Well, the whole decade. I mean, I came in '73. I just missed out on the Southern League title, but obviously Ron Atkinson was here, so it was still a fantastic era. I mean, I'll cover for a bit in there, and just Ron Atkinson was. If anybody looked destined to be to go on great
the
tank, and his after he was so media conscious and all embracing. So you had that, and then Jeff Fowden, was an interim.
Really. Lovely lad, fantastic lad.
And then, but after that, obviously Dugan came. We had the cup run. Remember under Dugan, I went on a pre-season tour to Northern Ireland, and
was that Carrick Rangers?
Yeah, went Carrick Rangers, Coleraine. They also.
There's not a lot reported about that,
there was in our paper, but it was. But I think it's about four games. But bearing in mind, this is at the height of the Troubles. Mm-hmm. The idea of an English football team. This is almost as epic as that shirt. Yeah. We were the first game they played. We were in sitting in the ground in Crusaders, which is in the middle of Belfast, and the high rises all the way around, and there's soldiers on top with
nice.
Semi-automatic. I can remember we were genuinely scared when he went out there. We said, "Are you sure about this?"
Yeah.
And Lead me to it.
Well, we had a thing. There was a lot of partying going on at that time as
No.
well. Believe it or not, between time 4 games. But they had. We were based at a place called Port Stewart, and just across a bay from Port Rush on the Antrim coast. And we went to a game at Coleraine. But this one night we'd gone to this club in Port Stewart, and we were up till the early hours. Next night they were playing in Coleraine. Went over there, played a game. I could paint a whole load of stories, but when we came back, Port Rush was ablaze. They'd actually bombed the club that we were in the night before. So you had all these scramble of players to actually get to phones to.
I'm alright, yeah.
But then they went on from there to. They weren't beaten until January the 1st, I think. Lost at home to Margate.
It's still a record.
Yeah, they went through the whole of the first half of the season in all competitions, FA Cup, FA Trophy.
It's still a record with the club at the moment. So.
Still lost to Colchester in the third round.
The great shame, of course, was back then, everybody thought they were destined to get in the league. And in terms of, potential and everything they had, they should have been there. But of course, back then, you had to go to the smoke
just
field, and suddenly Wimbledon came out,
Yeah, we had these amazing games against Wimbledon, home games, didn't we? I mean, because you covered a couple, didn't you? With the Frank Large, Roger Connell.
Frank Large, Chin, Roger Connell. Frank one, fantastic.
Yeah.
And
the Dave Bassett one, which was the next game, where Dave Bassett came out of the game with the manager, Alan Batsford, with his arm bound up. And I said, "What's happened to your arm, Dave?" And he said, "Frank Large bloody bit it, didn't he? Bloody took a chunk out of it." And you're just going off to Kettering General. And so I went in to see Frank Large, and I said, he's claiming that you bit him. Is that true? You said you bit his arm. He says, what I want to know is, what was his arm doing in my mouth?
Well, we're going to have to end that there, unfortunately. I'm sure we're going to do part 2 and part 3 of this. I think we're going for a long time.
Right, 80s next time then.
80s next time. We'll definitely get you back again, because as I say, I'm sure that we could really go through the old gambit.
We didn't even get up to Wembley, did we?
No. But we'll do that again, definitely, David. Thank you, John, as well. Great to have you here. I'll do the old fist pump.
You enjoyed it,
Fist bump.
All right.
Brilliant to have you. Have a great day this afternoon.
Thanks,
and
Paul,
we'll continue.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Brilliant.
Yeah. All right.